Hello friends, welcome to yet another fascinating video of Wisdom Zone. This is Shubro, and friends, I'm quite sure you're quite eagerly waiting for today's session because today I have the 23rd session on English conversation practice, and in today's video I am gonna give you some latest practice techniques to practice your English conversation. So it is my earnest request to all of you, please watch this video carefully till the end to learn all the latest practice techniques I'm gonna discuss today. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not wait friends, immediately go ahead and subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon to get the first notification. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So friends, welcome back once again to this fascinating video on English conversation practice. And as I have already promised, today I have the 23rd session, and in today's video I'm gonna discuss some latest practice techniques to practice your English conversation. So you have already understood this video is quite imperative for you because here you are going to learn some very interesting and latest practice techniques. So before I go ahead, let me quickly inform all of you that I have provided the links of the previous parts in the description. So if you haven't checked the previous 22 parts, please do not forget to check the links given in the description. So without further ado, let's get started with today's video. So friends, as I have already promised, today I'm gonna discuss some latest practice techniques so that you can use them and practice your English conversation. So before I go ahead and start discussing all the latest practice techniques, let me also discuss why do you need to practice. I'm quite sure you must be eager to know that why you should practice, why do you need to practice. So let me tell you, this question comes in your mind quite often, that why I need to practice, why I should practice, isn't that? So let me tell you, it is imperative to practice just to be in touch, because when you are in the learning phase, you have to practice so that you do not become out of touch. And especially when you are learning to speak fluently, if there is a gap, it would affect your fluency. You may notice it if you take a break, if you're practicing regularly and suddenly you take a break of 3-4 days, then after that when you will start speaking, you will find that you have lost your touch a bit, you have lost your fluency. This in fact happened to one of my students. That's why I'm here to make this video, and I realized that it's very important for you to understand that there should not be any kind of gap when you're practicing English, when you're learning English conversation. It happened to one of my students. I'll briefly tell you, during the festive season she took 5-6 days break, and when again she rejoined and I gave her a topic, she started struggling. But before that she was able to speak confidently on any topic, but I realized that she was struggling, she was unable to put the right word in the right situation, and she was quite hesitant and her fluency was not up to the mark. She was not as good as she was before. That's why again I told her not to take a break, and if you take a break also ensure that you should practice regularly at home. So that's why I'm here to give you this information and show you some important techniques. All these techniques are going to help you to be in touch and practice your English conversation. Next issue is that whenever you tell someone that you should practice regularly, I often get this response that I don't have anyone to practice speaking. It's a common response, but let me tell you, you don't need to worry. You don't need anyone to practice your English conversation. I'll tell you some interesting techniques to practice English conversation alone. So now onwards, you don't need anyone to practice English conversation, because I'm here to give you the right techniques and the methods which you can use and practice your English conversation alone. Let me get started with the technique step by step. As you see, the first important point you have to keep in mind is that you have to allocate at least 45 to 60 minutes every day for English conversation practice. You have to devote that time, and you have to do it regularly without any break. So that is mandatory. So first focus on this. Ensure that you devote at least 45 to 60 minutes every day for English conversation practice. Practice English conversation. I'll tell you the technique step by step. First, block 45 to 60 minutes from your schedule every day for English practice. So the next thing is that, as you see, the next technique you should apply to practice is to speak on familiar topics. As you know that some of you may not have friends or any other person to practice English, so you don't need to worry about that. It's not at all a big issue these days. You don't need to have anyone to practice English conversation. So what you have to do is that you have to speak on familiar topics loudly every day, and you may record it also. If you want, you can record that. You must be wondering what sort of familiar topics you should choose. Let me tell you, as you see some examples, describe yourself. That means you can give yourself introduction every day. You can try and give yourself introduction to be in touch and also to master your self introduction. That is one way to practice. Apart from that, you can describe your family, friends, your relatives, their physical description also you can give, which I have discussed in other video. You will find the link in the description. And apart from that, you can also describe past events, past activities. What did you do yesterday? You can describe what did you do, what activities you did yesterday. That also you can describe, and that is also a nice way to practice the use of the simple past tense. Apart from that, you can choose some interesting topics around you. You can describe new buildings or new stores in your locality, or if there is a new neighbor, you can describe that new neighbor, his appearance, his nature. So ensure that you speak on familiar topics. It can be your self introduction, your family, what did you do yesterday, new buildings, new store, and all the other familiar topics around you. Choose and speak at least for 20 minutes. That's mandatory. So ensure that you speak on all these topics. Choose 2-3 topics every day and speak at least for 20 minutes, and you speak loudly. And if you want, you can record that conversation and again play it back and see how it's going. That's the second step you have to take. And apart from that, the third important thing you have to do is you have to read aloud. That means you have to read loudly. So you must be wondering what to read. You can take newspaper, you can read newspaper articles which you are interested in, sports, pastry, current affairs. You can read short articles loudly. You can read blogs also, and you can also read current affairs, and you can take interesting magazines and read articles from there. And ensure you read every day at least for 10 minutes, and you have to read aloud so that you can listen to what you are reading. So that is mandatory. So this is the third important step you have to take to practice yourself alone. And the fourth important technique is on your screen. You have to watch short videos in English. So that is also quite helpful. Ensure that you watch short videos, at least one video, depends upon your availability of time. So you can watch some good meaningful videos in English. Duration can be between 5 to 6 minutes. That would be ideal. Videos which are of 5 to 6 minutes you can watch. You have to watch every day. So watch short videos in English and ensure that you watch at least for 5 to 6 minutes, one video of 6 minutes. So like this way you have to at least watch English videos every day. And the fifth important technique which you have to apply is related to the previous 2 points. You have to summarize. You have to summarize what you have read or watched. As I already mentioned, you need to read newspaper, you have to read articles, blogs, and current affairs. After reading, try to summarize that information, what you have understood, in your own language, and do it loudly and summarize it. And apart from that, you can also watch a video, short video, and after that you can summarize that video in your own language. You have to do it also mandatory, because point 3, 4 and 5 are quite correlated. So if you are just watching, it's not going to give that kind of benefit. If you are just reading, that's not going to give you that type of benefit. But if you are watching, reading, as well as summarizing all the information in your own language, that's going to give you tremendous benefit. It's going to help you immensely. So do it, and the duration is 5 to 10 minutes. It's not going to take that much. You can do it for 5 to 10 minutes. Take a short article, read it, and then summarize it for 3-4 minutes, and again watch one video and summarize it for 3-4 minutes. This is a very important technique you should apply. So just by watching or reading would not help, would not give you that sort of benefit. You need to summarize that information. And let me tell you, I have given this technique to so many students and they have got immensely benefited. I am quite sure you will be also benefited. Apart from that, miscellaneous activities you can do if you get time. Obviously, when you read, you'll get so many new words. When you watch a video also, you'll get so many new words, phrases, vocabulary, expressions, idioms. So you have to look up the meanings of new vocabulary, phrases, expressions, and idioms. After finding meanings of the idioms, expression, and vocabulary, jot them down, note them down. Maintain a small diary and note down all the new words, vocabulary, phrases, expressions, idioms you learn every day while reading or watching and jot them down with the meanings. So that is one activity you should do, and it's going to help you in the longer run. So I hope you understood, friends. I gave you some extremely important and latest practice techniques to practice your English conversation, and you can do it alone. You don't need anyone to practice. So let me tell you, I have given these techniques to so many students and they have got immensely benefited. At last, let me summarize. To summarize, let me tell you, first thing is that don't be out of touch. Don't stop practicing. Practice regularly. Don't take a break for more than 2 days. If there is a break of more than 2 days, then it's going to affect your fluency. If it is around 2 days, it's still okay. I'll ideally suggest those who are learning now, every day you have to practice, regularly you have to practice. Yes, obviously if there is an emergency you cannot help it, but if there is no such emergency, ensure that practicing English conversation should be a part of your routine. And the third important thing again which I like to highlight is that try to practice every day, and the duration should be somewhere between 45 to 60 minutes you have to devote every day. And I have already shown you how you can practice, how you can distribute the time, how much time you should give for speaking, how much time you can devote for reading, how much time you can devote for watching, or how much time you can devote for summarizing the information. And the last and but not the least is speak, speak, speak. Try to speak as much as possible. Whenever you get an opportunity, try to speak in English and speak aloud. Speak loudly so that you can listen, you can gain confidence more and more. So friends, I'm quite sure you have understood all the latest practice techniques I have discussed. They are extremely useful and they are tested techniques. I have given this to so many students and they have got immensely benefited, and I'm quite sure all these techniques are also going to help you to practice your English conversation alone and would not need anyone to practice your English conversation. So friends, I'm quite sure you found this video equally helpful like my other videos. So it is my earnest request to all of you, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not wait friends, immediately go ahead and subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon to get the first notification of this type of informative video. So stay tuned for further informative videos friends, and do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to Wisdom Zone.